Hello, guys. Good day and welcome to another Tech Focus 24 opinion. My name is Sammy Dowo, and as usual, I always bring you, very thought-provoking issues in the telecoms industry, and of course, issues related to that as well. Today, I'm here to talk about SafariTech. SafariTech. Those of you who have followed some of the stories I did in the past, I've not done anything about SafariTech on YouTube yet, but then if you have followed my writings on Tech Focus 24, you would have read a lot about SafariTech because I was a sole campaigner around that period. So what is the story? The reason I'm here today is because this issue about SafariTech has come up in Parliament. It came out in Parliament when the GRA Commissioner General went to Parliament to meet the Public Accounts Committee. Okay, so an MP, St. George, started asking questions about SafariTech. And at that point, the Commissioner General says that he needs time to go and bring, documents and stuff about SafariTech. I was a bit surprised because you are going to Parliament to go and for accountability. That's the Public Accounts Committee. So you employ SafariTech to do an audit on your biggest taxpayer, your most decorated taxpayer, MTN. So I would have expected that issues about SafariTech should have been important. Excuse me, should have featured strongly in your presentation to Parliament, but no, he did not. So he has been given 2 weeks to come back to Parliament. Now, within these 2 weeks, I just want to come in and share a little bit, give you a certain background, so that those of you who probably did not know what was going on prior to Parliament asking those questions, you get some perspective, and then we'll see how it goes. Then we'll probably throw up some questions to the GRA Commissioner General. Indeed, I have sent them questions already. I sent them questions even days before Parliament started asking those questions. I've asked questions of the GRA boss to explain to me some issues about SafariTech, but they have not done that. Okay, so what is the story? What is the history? So sometime last year, we were here when GRA says MTN has been slapped with 8.2 billion Ghana cedis back tax. That's about $770-something million back tax. Why? Because they claim in between 2014 and 2018, MTN hid revenue, 30% of their revenue between 2014, so 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 5 years, they hid 30% of their revenue from government. So because of that, that revenue was not taxed. So now some audit done by a third party, i.e. SafariTech Ghana Limited, has now brought up this information. So MTN is supposed to pay all the taxes related to that 30% revenue they hid, plus penalties. Okay, you would have expected that something like this, it means MTN has evaded tax. So it's a criminal matter. Okay, so the implications for MTN is not just financial, but it's also criminal. It's also a reputational damage, very serious. And remember that we are talking about the biggest taxpayer in Ghana, biggest corporate taxpayer in Ghana, the most decorated, GRA's most decorated taxpayer in the country. That's what we are talking about. So I asked myself this question, how come? Because I know that some of these audits are usually done for GRA by people like KPMG, very reputable audit firms, very internationally reputed audit firms. KPMG, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the likes. Okay, so we are talking about names like Deloitte and Touche and Ernst & Young and those people. They are the ones who do it. But then all of a sudden they are talking about SafariTech Ghana Limited. And what was interesting for me again was that I was told that the work that SafariTech did was actually also examined by KPMG. And KPMG came out clear to raise very critical questions about how SafariTech arrived at that conclusion. But again, GRA, for whatever reason, decided that they were going to stick with SafariTech's, conclusions. And not only did they just decide to stick, but they actually issued another statement claiming that they have the evidence and everything that they need. That backed the back tax that they've slapped on MTN. And so they're just expecting MTN to make use of the 21 days grace to come and sit for negotiation and, tete-a-tete, let's talk about it. Okay. So after the 21 days, what then happens is that if MTN decides to go, and I'm talking about our tax law, the way it is crafted. If MTN then decides that they are going to go to court or use dispute resolution, because the MTN Group Chief Executive, that is Ralph Mupita, actually declared that they were going to use dispute resolution channels to fight this. So beyond the 21 days that they are going to be sitting with GRA, they are going to also use probably the courts or even international arbitration, whatever means that they say dispute resolution, dispute resolution channels, they're going to use it. And the law is structured so that once the 21 days as a last, and you are not going to use dispute resolution, whether you go to court or whatever, the law says that the GRA Commissioner General has got discretion to demand 30% of the money that they've slapped on you. Pay that one, put that one down before you go for dispute resolution. So in other words, even if MTN decides to go to court beyond the 21 days, they were going to be paying at least 2.7 something billion Ghana cedis pay to GRA. Then let's talk. And normally, what happens is that when you pay that money to the GRA, even if the case goes round and comes and it says that, oh, you are not liable, it's like you are free of the tax, they will still not give you back the 2.7 billion. They will say they're going to give you tax credits so that you will take the money small, so that next year if you are supposed to pay and this is an amount of tax, they will take small until the 2.7 billion is gone. And this whole thing looked like, because our country is bankrupt, so GRA is finding a way to make money at all costs, so that even if they don't get 8.2 billion, at least the 2.7 billion will come in. That's to show up the country's revenue, and then they will, you understand? So, and they thought that, to my mind, they thought that using KPMG or PricewaterhouseCoopers to do something like that against MTN, those bodies they have too much integrity, to just go and conjure stuff just to help you take money from an honorable company, like a reputable company. So they want to bring this Safari Tech that nobody knows from anywhere. We're told that they're from Kenya. Okay, so GRA did this. And so my next point of call as a journalist is to then, okay, so let's find out who is Safari Tech. Okay, because this is an ordinary, like out of the blue interest as a journalist, as a telecoms journalist, as somebody who's interested in the of course, I mean, in Ghana, everybody knows which journalist actually goes deeper into, very sensitive areas when it comes to, telecoms industry in this country. I don't have to say it. Everybody knows it. Okay, so I decided to look further into who Safari Tech is. And then I Googled Safari Tech Ghana Limited. What I found, simple. First page Google, I found a website which says safaritech.biz. And there I found the name Safari Tech Ghana Limited. So that is actually their website. Then I checked and I found out that, they claim that they have, for the past 20 years, they have been doing tax, revenue assurance, tax audits, so many things that they've done over the past 20 years in so many countries. A lot of African countries, some in Asia, that kind of thing. I never saw a country in Europe anyway, or in the Americas anyway, but all the time it is either, of course, it is usually developing countries. That is what you find these people, because they always go there pretending that they want to help governments get more money from multinationals and corporate organizations. So, I mean, they never go and do these things in Europe and in America. Nobody will listen to them. Anyway, so, yes, so that is what it is. So, they claim that they do all these things in various countries, and then their main sponsors are IMF, USAID, UNDP, World Bank, GIZ, and then ATRN. So that is what they claim, attaching themselves to this reputable big international organizations. And they didn't stop them, but they claim that they are agents, not just that their works are sponsored by this organization, but then they claim that they are agents of these organizations as well. They are agents of IMF, that kind of thing. So, and USA, World Bank, and all that. So I said, okay. So now the impression I got was that IMF, because they are coming to give Ghana $3 billion, they have decided to use their agents to then impose, as it were, impose their agents on GRA to then do audits on various organizations in the country to assure some revenue, that kind of thing. Because they are coming into our country. Of course, they have the rep at World Bank, Bank of Ghana, who is now trying to guide the bank in how to do things so that it will suit IMF and stuff. So it will not be surprising if they also put an agent at GRA that kind of, because it's all about revenue because they are going to give us money. So that's what I thought. So my story was that IMF actually has imposed their agent on us. So GRA has dissed KPMGs, the KPMGs and the PricewaterhouseCoopers and those people for an IMF agent. Okay, which makes sense because IMF is coming to give us money. And then I also came out to say, their pedigree, what do you call it? Safaritech's pedigree, their claims on their website. That look, they have done this revenue assurance thing for various countries. And in the various countries, sometimes they realize revenue, that they will recover revenue to the tune of about from 300% to about 500%. Revenue recovery, so that the revenue authorities actually recognize taxes that have been hidden from them, and that caused their tax revenue to increase by 300 to 500%. That's huge. So it tells you that they are doing well, because if they can discover this kind of money for countries, then of course it's fantastic. So I did all these stories, and then of course I also found their addresses, their whatever. Everything, and I took screenshots of some things and I put it down. Okay. Then I published this nice story about them, that probably this is why GRA is justified in using them, because they've got a pedigree, they have got a track record. Immediately I published a story about Safaritech, they just took their website down. The very website where they claim that this is what they do. They are agents of IMF, they are agents of World Bank, and then this is a track record. They took it down immediately. I was like, but how? So I was left with only two things. Number one, they claim they are a Kenyan company, and then they also claim that they have a headquarters in London. So I said, okay, let me check Kenya. When I checked Kenya, the only details I found about Safaritech is one, a phone number, two, a postal address, and then number three, an information which says that they are into general business. There was nothing about auditing, telecom revenue assurance, training, sizing, all the technical, high stuff thing that they claim they do. Nothing about it you can find about them in Kenya. All this stated was general business. General business, you are the best judge. When they say somebody is in general business, you can understand. Okay. So I said, okay. Now they say claim their headquarters is in London. So let me check London. And I checked London. And what I found, you see, guys, let me tell you something. One of the things I found in Africa is that when you are looking for information about companies that have come and registered here, you are doing business. When you want information about them in Africa, it's hell. Even when you go to register general, they probably ask you to go and use RTI, come and pay money, all kinds of things, just because you are looking for simple information about a company that is supposed to be a legal entity in this country, doing business here and getting money from us. Don't find it. But in London, first page Google, when I put in Safaritech Limited London, all their registration details came. Everything about them came from the time they were incorporated. And interestingly, till the time they were dissolved. So yes, I found that Safaritech was incorporated on June 20th, 2016 in London. By July 2017, they have already been declared dormant. That's just about like one year and a month, 13 months. They have already been declared dormant in London, and they were about to be dissolved. So the registry authority wrote to them and asked them they should show why they should not be dissolved. Immediately they wrote to them and they realized that they were about to be dissolved. Then started changing directors. They did some change of directors, pretended to have employed some people, and then some people have left, that kind of thing. Just some administrative stuff to make it look like they are operational. Then they changed their office address. And at the end of the day, they changed office addresses 3 times. And again, guys, I sent a colleague of mine in London to go and check those addresses. They went to check those addresses, and the information that came to me is that Safaritech had never had an office in any of those addresses. They were just virtual addresses they were using to pretend in the UK that they are existent. And so all this change of directors is just fluke. Just so that it will look like, oh, Charlie, there's something going on. So there's some activity going on at the company so that they will not be dissolved. Because within 30 months, they were about to be dissolved. So they did all these things back and forth because they started with Ron and Dichege, who is also the director of a company here that is related to Safari Tech. So a company called 192C. They are supposed to be the same office as Safari Tech Ghana at Kanda. I'll come to that at Kanda. And that same person is also director of Safari Tech, the only director of Safari Tech in London. Do you understand? And then they changed him to some Hanayan Haji, some guy who used to be in gold business in Ghana here between 2014 and 2017. Now he's there, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like, just create something. As I'm talking to you, by December 15, 2020, they wrote to them again and said that we are about to dissolve you because now we've seen that you are not operating. And their bank account at the time had between the July 2017 that I told you about all the way to 2020, their bank account had only £100. Guys, £100 in it. This is the company. And in 2019, 2020, that was when they were hired by GRA to do the audit on MTN. This is a company that got £100 in their account. In the UK, they've had £100 since 2017. It's like more or less like since the time of inception up to the time of dissolution, they have £100. And this is a company that have been hired and they have registered a certain Fluke 1, 2 in Ghana and they are being used to audit MTN. Or to audit MTN. Do you understand? So, this is it. And we wrote to them. They didn't respond. And then by 8th of March 2021, their names were struck out of the registry. And then 16th of March 2021, complete dissolution. This is it. This is the information about Safari Tech. This is the company that they say that they are auditing MTN. And so I started looking. So I said, let me go and check their Ghana because in UK they've changed address 3 times. So I said, what about Ghana? Let me go to Kanda and go and check. I went to Kanda. They said their address is E68/9, Ablade Close, Kanda, Accra. So I went. And when I got there, it was, of course, a close is supposed to be a road with a dead end. So some quiet place, as if nothing goes on there. And I checked that address and I found it's a boutique. A boutique, it's like a lady's boutique where a certain young lady was sitting there in the shop. And I went to talk to the lady. She said that as far as she's concerned, they've been here for a long time. They've never seen any company called Safari Tech. They don't know any. They've never known anything. And I checked even with other people in the area. So if I actually went to a certain tailor who is there, has been there for years. You can see an elderly man. I had to say, oh, he's been there for years. Say, they don't know. No, nobody, that particular place, nobody has been there to come and say they are opening an office there or something. But it's only this boutique they've known for years. And then two other people I talked to in the area. Fantastic. I said, wow. Wow. So one day I was there. So a friend of mine, Derek Lai, also got interested in the whole issue and started even posting some of my content, you know, about Safari Tech and stuff like that. So he also got interested. So I had already searched for them on Google to see whether I would find them. I didn't find them. So that's why I checked the address in Kanda. So I just went into Kanda just to go and search. And I actually found that I found E75/9. So I used E75/9 to then trace E68. And I found E68. Okay. Fantastic. So now Derek says that he has checked Google again and has found that a certain Safari Tech has showed up at Springtex. I said, hey, that's Safari Tech. You say you are Kanda. We want to search for you at Kanda. Once I publish that their Kanda office, they are not there. But it's a fluke. Then they all of a sudden showed up on Google that they are Springtex. We want to check Springtex too. The same thing. There's some address in a close, another close, a dead end, in somebody's house. Very ordinary house. Somebody's ordinary house. Wait, this is the company that GRA has thrown MTN of all companies into their hands that audit MTN. In somebody's house. Nothing was going on there. Do you understand? So this is it. This is the company. And so GRA, I was expecting GRA to come out and come and tell us something about why and how they even employed Safaritech. They wouldn't. So one day I was there and I got a call from GRA. I don't want to say names. Okay. I got a call from GRA. Oh, they want to meet with me. I went. So they have seen my stories and they want to even share their side of the story with me, blah, 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 kind of thing. And so, fine. So today is just the first meeting, and they will call me back and give me filler about, their own side of the story, and to prove that they are actually. When I asked about Safaritech, what they told me about Safaritech, let's wait. At the right time, we'll talk about it. But for now, let's hold it. No problem. Then they said they will call me and they will talk about, the audit that they did on MTN. I left them. I think it was a Monday or so. By Wednesday also, they had withdrawn the 8.2 billion. They've totally scammed it. 8.2 billion back that they slapped on MTN. They've withdrawn it and said they've cancelled it completely. Is it not strange that you said you have explanation? You have explanation to why you are slapping 8.2 billion on MTN, tax on MTN. But all of a sudden, a couple of days to just your 21 days deadline, you've scrapped it just like that. But the question is, what is the reason for scrapping it? Because 8.2 billion coming into the national kitty is an important, it's huge money for us as a country. We need it. If indeed MTN really hit revenue from us and we have to get the 8.2 billion, let's go and get it. Why do you just scrap it? You don't just scrap it and be quiet and pretend as if everything is okay. Once you scrap it, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Are you saying that MTN is not guilty? If MTN is not guilty, Safaritech, what did they do? How much did we pay them? Who are they? Where did you get them from? How did you get them? Did you do due diligence on them? What methodology did they use? If the methodology they use is wrong, why did you accept it? Have you now seen the right thing? there are so many questions to be answered. Otherwise, you will also leave a nagging impression in the head that probably MTN came to bribe you, which I don't believe. But you are leaving that thing in the head that MTN probably came to bribe you, and then you now deny the whole country of 8.2 billion just by a handshake from MTN or what? Is that the impression you want to create? We don't want to believe that. But please, come clean and come and tell us. So when GRA, that Commissioner General showed up in Parliament, we were expecting him to answer these questions. Now you didn't need 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, we are waiting. We are waiting. 2 weeks is not far away. We are going to wait for the 2 weeks to come. And we want him to come and answer these questions. Where did you get Safaritech from? Who brought Safaritech? I've been told something about where Safaritech came from, who brought Safaritech. But we want to know. We want to hear it from the GRA Commissioner General himself. He's a reverend minister. We want him to come and tell us his truth. Where did they come from? What due diligence did you do? Because me, I didn't struggle. First page Google, I found everything I wanted to know about Safaritech. So what due diligence did you do? Okay? Why have you scrapped the tax on MTN? Are you saying that MTN is not guilty or Safaritech got it wrong? We want to know. Number 3, how much did you pay Safaritech? What kind of payment arrangement did you do? And regarding payment arrangements, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we don't know is that this is what they do normally. When people come in and do some of these so-called audits, real-time audits, retrospective audit on us, they normally agree with them to pay them sort of like a percentage of the incremental revenue. Okay, so for instance, if the 8.2 billion that has been discovered, it means that MTN is going to be paying all this money to GRA. It means that is a revenue that GRA will not have discovered, even not because of quote unquote the work of Safaritech. So that 8.2 billion, they will be entitled to a percentage. And normally, the last time I checked with Suba, it was 13.5%. It was 13.5%. Even that one, we don't even know what work Suba did, but then they had an agreement to be paid 13.5% of every incremental revenue. So if let's say that, let's be conservative and say Safaritech is going to be paid 10%. 8.2 billion, 10% of that is 820 million Ghana cedis. Guys, that is huge money. That is one. Even if it is 1%, that is 82 million. It is still big money. Even if it's 1%, it is still big money. And even if it is 0.1%, it is 8.2 million. Guys, it is still big money. So you can see the kind of wickedness, you can see how these people just come up with all this kind of voodoo because you see, they are motivated. Because they know when they come to Africa, our leaders are gullible and corrupt. Our leaders are gullible and corrupt. So they will allow them to come and do these voodoo things on international organizations, reputable organizations that are helping our development as a country. They just come and slap these things on them, and then they create that money, they share. Because there's no way these people, I don't know who, up to now, we don't know which Ghanaians are behind Safari Tech. But I know who brought them. We will talk about that later. But the Ghanaians, they will create this thing, they will go and share. And I can tell you that there are people at GRA, there are people in government who are benefiting from these things. So how much did you pay them? How much did you pay Safari Tech? We want to know. Don't just remove the tax, back tax on MTN and just say that it's time for accountability. It's just say that it is over. We should just everybody should just chill. MTN is not for job. No, it's time for accountability. You have to come and account. That's why Public Accounts Committee is there. You have to go there and account. So say come in 2 weeks' time and come and tell us how much you paid Safari Tech. You know, and then again, why do you want to deny us 8.2 billion? Are you saying MTN indeed didn't do anything wrong? We want to know. Don't just do things and be quiet. Okay? We also told that you were advised by KPMG, but you didn't listen. The question is why? Why? We want to know. We want to know. So I've sent some questions to them, and I'm sure that when they come to Parliament, the parliamentarians are going to be asked the critical and the hard questions. We are expecting to receive answers to these questions. Guys, I'll come back again after 2 weeks when the man goes to Parliament and go and gives his answers. We'll come and analyze. We'll come and present to you what he's going to say, and we'll also come and analyze his responses. Do you understand? But I think it's about time all of us begin to pay attention to some of these things. Because see, we were sitting down here, they brought GVG, claimed that they are coming to do real-time monitoring. They came, they collected as much money as they can, and they left. We brought Suba, same thing. They paid them 74 million. Multimedia went to report. GRA came to threaten us that they are coming after Multimedia for taxes, and then that was the end of those stories. Now we have Kerry GVG doing their own thing here. Civil society organizations have complained and said all kinds of things, but they are still around. They're still around. And now Safari Tech. Tomorrow it will be Komoko Tech. Today it is Bonmonti Tech. Whatever. It's like anything that will just create, will be an avenue for create, root, and share. They will bring it in the name of they are trying to revenue assurance. And this revenue assurance thing, now they are taking it to the extractive industry. You see now, Talo, they are going to take to gold mining and all that. That's why, because what they seek their money in the name of revenue assurance, then of course. So that's what we are doing. If we want to do proper revenue assurance, we should do it and make sure that the country is benefiting. Not that people will go and bring rogue companies to come and do these things, and then they create the money and go and share. We are tired. We are tired. We are tired. So guys, we are waiting. 2 weeks is not far away. We'll come back again after 2 weeks, and you'll hear from us. God bless you. This is for God and country.